Parmenter, Sky News.
Well, that's Pippa Middleton. Let's deal now with the Duchess of Cambridge, who has a more interesting future that we know about at the moment. With me now, Kate Williams, royal author and historian. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Andrew.
You know, pages and pages and pages written about the monarchy, and sometimes you feel the analysis goes round and round in circles. But one thing we do know, of course, is that Princess Diana had a very difficult time, and we can assume that other royal brides have had difficult times in the past and also alongside. I'm thinking of Sarah Ferguson as well. It's not an easy move to make, is it?
Well, absolutely, Andrew. Marrying into the firm is not something straightforward. It's a whole new set of rules, it's a whole new set of regulations, and along with that, there's all the press intrusion, the paparazzi, the fact that wherever she goes now, she's going to be followed. It's a new world for her, but very unlike Lady Diana Spencer. Kate Middleton, she's been with William for a long time now. She has a good idea of what she's letting herself in for, and I think she's going to do brilliantly. I
mean, I think that's an enormous difference. If you think that Charles and Diana met perhaps less than 20 times before they actually got married. And this couple have been together, well, that's part of a decade, let's be honest.
Well, exactly, and they're very much like a lot of couples across Britain. They meet at university, live together, marry around to the age of 30.
Split up a little bit, come back together again.
Just very average.
Yeah.
Whereas Princess Diana, you know, she did meet Charles only a few times, and apparently when they married, she was still much more comfortable calling him Sir than Charles. I mean, we saw so much intimacy between the couple yesterday, the little words, the little gestures. They're clearly very devoted, and you know, they live together in Anglesey and they're going back to their normal lives.
Well, how do you think that's happened then? Because a lot of talk at the time, as Charles and Diana's marriage started to break down, was that he was under a lot of pressure to get married, find a wife, particularly we think from the Duke of Edinburgh. Was there no pressure, do you think, on William? Because he is still potentially, although not next in line, he's in line after that. So would the firm, as you call it, not have taken that equally seriously in terms of his choice of bride? Who modernised them?
Well, I think it has been different, but the key thing is that William is much younger than Charles when he met his girlfriend. Charles had his 20s with lots of girls, you know, lots of different ladies. William, he met his girlfriend at university, and the big change has been that William was allowed to be on his own at university. He and Kate just developed this relationship away from the glare of the cameras, like any normal young couple, going out for dinner, going to the pub, going to the supermarket, and that's the beginning of their really strong and it seems very normal relationship.
Now, a lot of people like royal weddings for obvious reasons. They can gather on the Mall, they can camp out all night. The atmosphere, you know, for all of us that were down there at one point or other during the day, was very genial, to say the least. But what about that all fitting into the role of the monarchy in terms of 50 and hundreds of years? They have this role to play, which is, some would say pointless, but certainly at best just ceremonial. They've got to just fit into that. Does it really matter how happy they are in that role? They just do it and the next one comes along and takes over.
Well, it's like any job, you know, some of us are better at it than others. And being a monarch, being a royal, is so difficult. On one hand, we expect a lot of them. They're supposed to be always conspicuous, always at cutting ribbons and at charity places, and never to put a foot wrong, and also to be politically neutral. That's very difficult in today's modern political world, not to make a political statement, not to make a statement that's seen as excessive, and that's a very hard thing for women as well. So they've got a difficult job to do, and I really think that you know, this is one that takes a lot of difficulty, and you know, it's something you just can't train for.
But the principal part of the job is the easy part. The going and cutting the ribbons and being charming for the day is not the hard part. It's, as you say, if you get tempted or drawn into getting involved, as Charles has, and making comments to ministers or affecting certain developments in the City of London, or getting involved in business, as the Duke of York has, that's when things get complicated, when they actually start to almost work for a living.
Exactly, and of course, the great thing is about the Middletons, they're self-made, and they've made their fortune through something that really can be seen as the most innocent possible way. Party planning. It's just nothing like, it's not high finance, it's nothing that could be a bit dodgy. And I think this is very key for the future Duke and Duchess of Cambridge. It's very difficult. You have to stay away from political suggestions, and absolutely right, business as well. And I think we really expect our monarchs, our royalty, to be very like the Queen, always around, and we wouldn't know a single thing about what she really thinks about politics.
You know, there's always been this tradition, particularly the young men in the royal family, to give them a token job, to put them through Sandhurst or give them something to do for a while before they settle down and don't do anything anymore. How much difference do you think it'll make to the fact that Kate Middleton clearly has a middle-class work ethic running through her family, which many people regard as very healthy, and that William also has made an effort to make his career more significant than it might otherwise have been, taking the controls of a helicopter, putting himself in Anglesey, which is Wales, not England, which is significant and a clever move. How much difference will that sort of middle-class work ethic, do you think, make to their future at the top of the tree?
I think it's going to make a huge amount of difference. We really expect different things from our royalty, from our monarchs these days. We don't need this kind of excess, the splendour, the gold, the pomp. We want them to be more like us. And here's Kate and William living in Anglesey, in their cottage there. And William has taken his job much more seriously. He's been working terribly hard, and just the fact that he's invited all his colleagues to the wedding, just like any other person who worked might. It's absolutely a new type of monarchy and a new type of royal couple. So they've got a job on their hands, but they've done brilliantly so far.
So far. Well, let's hope the wind of change keeps looking positive. Kate Williams, thanks very much for coming in and talking to us today. Well, of all the countries where the royal newlyweds have revived interest in the monarchy, America has perhaps been the most excited. Actually, not perhaps. I think America